Good morning, students. In previous video, we had a discussion regarding macronutrients and micronutrients and their essential role in plants. And in this video, we are going to discuss about from the same chapter mineral nutrition one more important subtopic. It is deficiency symptoms of essential elements. So now let's begin today's session. Deficiency symptoms of essential elements. Whenever the supply of an essential element becomes limited, plant growth is retarded. The concentration of the essential element below which plant growth is retarded is termed as critical concentration. So this is one important definition for critical concentration. I repeat once again, the concentration of the essential element below which plant growth is retarded is termed as critical concentration. Is it clear? So the element is said to be deficiency when present below the critical concentration. And since each element has one or more specific structural or functional role in plants, in the absence of any particular element, plants show certain morphological changes. You can see those morphological changes on the screen right now. The way how leaf undergone for different color variations. These morphological changes are inactive of certain element deficiencies and are called deficiency symptoms. So the deficiency symptoms vary from element to element and they disappear when the deficient mineral nutrient is provided to the plant. You can see on the screen different mineral nutrients and their deficiency role in the plant. However, if deprivation continues, it may eventually lead to the death of the plant. So the parts of the plants that show the deficiency symptoms also depend upon the mobility of the element in the plant. So for elements that are actively mobilized within the plants and explored to young developing tissues, the deficiency symptoms tend to appear first in the older tissues. You can see in this diagram, for example, the deficiency symptoms of nitrogen, potassium and magnesium are visible first in the senescent leaves. It means old leaves. You can see on the screen old leaves in the sense older leaves. In the older leaves, biomolecules containing these elements are broken down, making these elements available for mobilizing to younger leaves. So you can see in the diagram, so from the older leaves to young leaves they mobilizes, it means moves. The deficiency symptoms tend to appear first in the young tissues whenever the elements are relatively mobilized and are not transported out of the mature organs. For example, you can see this diagram. Element like sulfur and calcium are a part of the structural component of the cell and hence are not easily released. This aspect of mineral nutrition of plants is of great significance and importance to agriculture and horticulture. The kind of deficiency symptoms shown in this diagram in plants include chlorosis, necrosis, stunted plant growth, premature fall of leaves and buds, the inhibition of cell division, etc. First, let us see what is meant by chlorosis. Chlorosis is the loss of chlorophyll leading to yellowing in leaves. This symptom is caused by the deficiency of elements. Then what are those elements? You can see in this diagram those elements as follows: K, N, Mg, S, Fe, Mn, zinc and Mo. Likewise, necrosis or death of tissue, particularly leaf tissues, is due to the deficiency of Ca, Mg, Cu, N, lack of especially low level of N, K, S, Mo causes an inhibition of cell division. Some elements like N, S, Mo delay flowering of their concentration in plants is low. You can see from the given diagram that the deficiency of any element can cause multiple symptoms and that the symptoms may be caused by the deficiency of one of the several different elements. So therefore, to identify the deficiency element, one has to study all the symptoms developed in all the various parts of the plant and compare them with the available standard tables. So we must also aware that the different plants also respond different to deficiency of the same element. So students, let us see in detail regarding toxicity of micronutrients. Please see the screen, everybody. Here it is mentioned, a fair increase or decrease in the amount of micronutrient required by the plant cause toxicity. So the symptoms of toxicity are different to identify. So have you seen toxicity, for example, in boron, how it looks? So let us learn in detail regarding this toxicity, how it causes by micronutrients. The requirement of micronutrients is always in low amounts, while their moderate increase causes the deficiency symptoms and a moderate increase causes toxicity. So in other words, there is a narrow range of concentration at which the toxicity elements are optimum. So you can see in this diagram, students, how toxicity is causing by different elements. Any mineral ion concentration in tissues that reduces the dry weight of tissues by about 10% is considered toxic. Such critical concentrations vary widely among different nutrients. The toxicity symptoms are difficult to identify. Toxicity levels for any element also vary for different plants. Many times excess of an element may inhibit the uptake of another element. For example, the prominent symptom of manganese toxicity is the appearance of brown spots surrounded by chlorotic veins. It is important to know that manganese competes with iron and magnesium for uptake, with magnesium for binding the enzymes. You can see the leaf which is caused by the deficiency of the manganese on the screen. So it is important to know that manganese compete with iron and magnesium for uptake, and which the magnesium for binding the enzymes. Is it clear? Then manganese also inhibit the calcium translocation in Subtopics. Therefore, excess of manganese may in fact induce deficiencies of iron, magnesium and calcium. Thus, what appears as symptoms of manganese toxicity may actually to be deficiency symptoms of iron, magnesium and calcium. So, students, here there is an important point. Toxicity can actually be a deficiency symptoms of iron, magnesium and calcium. Remember it. Clear? Then, can this knowledge be some importance to farmer or a gardener, or even for you, even for us in your kitchen garden? Now see how the toxicity is causing in different plants. This leaf, you can see this leaf on the screen. The complete green colored leaf is changed into yellowish and brownish spots. So now let us see how this knowledge of some important to a farmer or a gardener, even for your kitchen garden. So now let us see one more important point regarding this one. Toxicity of micronutrients vary from one plant to another plant. Okay, then at the same time vary from one element to another element. At low levels of nutrient deficiency and reduced plant growth may occur deficiency range. So this deficiency range may be vary from one to another. As the level of nutrient is increased, plants respond to take more of the nutrients and increasing their growth. See the third point, students, on the screen. If the level of the nutrients is sufficient to meet plant needs, rising the level further will have little effect in plant growth. Then last point, at some level of availability, the plant will take up too much of the nutrient for its own food, causing adverse physiological reactions to occur. So now those are the symptoms which can be seen on the screen. Due to toxicity of micronutrients, how the plants got affected. Potassium deficiency, you can see in the first diagram. Potassium deficiency symptoms on tomato leaf. Then potassium deficiency maize plant. Necrosis of the leaf margins is most severe of oldest leaves. So potassium deficiency in grape leaf, and at the same time in different plants the same element shows different kinds of symptoms. So students, now symptoms of sodium toxicity in maple leaf and symptoms of chloride toxicity in grape leaf. So different elements shows different symptoms of toxicity in different ranges. Is it clear? Hope this concept is clear. You can see on the screen how the toxicity symptoms like MO, NI, NA causes in different plants. These are the few examples, students. Then one more important concept, mechanism of absorption of elements. Let us have a look in detail regarding this another concept. Much of the studies on mechanism of absorption of elements by plants has been carried out in isolated cells, tissues or organs. These studies related to much detailed information. Then also these studies revealed that the process of absorption can be demarcated into two main phases. Then what are those phases? Let us see first phase. In the first phase, the initial rapid uptake of ions into the free space or outer space of the cells. It is nothing but called as apoplast. So you can see on the screen, students, regarding apoplast. Next, in is passive. This apoplast is passive. Then in the second phase of uptake, the ions are taken in slowly into the inner space. So this is nothing but symplast of the cells. So two different phases. First one is apoplast and second one is symplast. About these two transport methods we had a discussion in previous chapter, transportation in plants. The passive movement of ions into the apoplast usually occurs through ion channels. The transmembrane proteins that function is selective ports. On the other hand, the entry or exit of ions to and from the symplast requires the expenditure of metabolic energy, which is an active process. The movement of ions is usually called flux. Students, this is most important definition. I repeat once again. The movement of ions is usually called flux. Any kind of ions, just it's called flux. In inward movement into the cells is influx, and the outward movement is called a flux. You may read these aspects in mineral nutrition concepts, students, and translocation in plants, especially in previous chapter regarding transport in plants. Now, translocation of solutes. What is meant by translocation? Mineral salts are translocated through xylem along with the ascending stream of water, which is pulled up through the plant by translocation pull. Analysis of xylem sap shows the presence of mineral salts in it. Use of radio stropes of mineral elements also substantize the review of they are transported through xylem. You have already discussed the movement of water in xylem, how it takes place in previous chapter. Then here one more important point. These solutes moves to longer distances. You can see on the screen, students, how they move to the longer distance. Translocation is a movement of mineral salts from one region to another region. Next, soil is as reservoir of many mineral elements. Do you know, in previous concept we had a discussion about this one. Now let us see in detail regarding this one. Majority of the nutrients that are essential for the growth and development of plants become available to the roots due to weathering of breakdown of rocks. These processes enrich the soil with the dissolved ions and inorganic salts. Since they are derived from the rock minerals, their role in plants' nutrition is referred to as mineral nutrition. Soil contains of the wide variety of substances. Soil not only supplies minerals but also herbaceous nitrogen fixing bacteria. About this nitrogen fixing bacteria, let's see one word. The other microbes holds water, supplies air to the roots and acts as a matrix and stabilizes the plant. Since the deficiency of essential minerals affect the crop yield. Is it clear? So what did I say here? The deficiency elements of minerals affect the plant yield or crop yield. There is often a need of supplying them through fertilizers. Such macronutrients are present given below. N, P, K, S, etc. And micronutrients Cu, Zn, Fe, Mn, etc. I repeat once again, deficiency of macronutrients. What are those? N, P, K, S, etc. and micronutrients Cu, Zn, Fe, Mn, etc. supplied through fertilizers as per need. You can see on the screen, students. Then here one more important point. How these mineral nutrients are moving from one place to another place. Which can move, they are called as mobile nutrients. Which can't move, they are called as immobile nutrients. Mobile nutrients example N, P, K, Mg, Cl, O. Immobile nutrients Ca, B, Fe, Mn, Cu, Zn, S. Mobile nutrients can translocate from older leaves to the longer leaves. When nutrient supply is reduced, deficiency symptoms are manifested on the older leaves through N, P, K, Mg, Cl, Mo. Then immobile nutrients cannot translocate from older leaves to the younger leaves. When translocate supply is required, deficiency symptoms appear first in the younger leaves. Then these are the different mineral nutrients Ca, B, Fe, Mn, Cu, Mg, S. Understand? So students, soil is a reservoir of many mineral nutrients, and soil harbors nitrogen fixing bacteria, other microbes, and soil holds the water, and soil supplies air to roots. So majority nutrients get through weathering and breaking down of the rocks only. So students, hope you understood this class. We will continue next concept, metabolism of nitrogen, in the next class. Thank you one and all.